The global fleet of nearly 400 Boeing 737 MAX has been grounded since mid-March. The Federal Aviation Administration in the U.S. says Thursday's meeting will provide international aviation officials answers to any questions they have as they weigh whether the jets should fly again. Representatives from Boeing will not be present. However, since the two recent 737 MAX crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia, scrutiny of the aircraft's development has some wondering whether the FAA and Boeing should essentially be treated as a single entity. For example, members of Congress wondered why the FAA took so long to ground the 737 MAX.
The public perception was that it took so long for us to do it because the FAA was just too cozy with Boeing.
The 737 MAX was reportedly rushed to market after Airbus surprised Boeing with a new fuel-efficient plane in 2010. Instead of developing a new aircraft, Boeing updated its 737 model with larger engines that needed to be placed further forward on the plane. But that meant the aircraft could pitch upwards in some circumstances and lead to the engine stalling. To compensate, Boeing developed a software fix, MCAS, or the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. However, not only did the system rely on just one sensor with a record of malfunctioning, Boeing didn't highlight the new system to the FAA or to pilots. Part of Boeing's sales pitch was that despite the major design changes, this was fundamentally the same plane as the 737, so the recertification process was speedy and costly additional pilot training would be minimal. The FAA took Boeing at its word.
They made changes in 2005 that effectively handed over all of the certification process to the manufacturers, and I think there's very little evidence that shows that Boeing in any way engaged in any kind of robust testing of MCAS.
The challenge for Boeing and the FAA is to reestablish their credibility. The CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, for one, says he'll take a lot of convincing to use the 737 MAX.
I cannot fully say that the airplane will fly back on Ethiopian Airlines.
Some wonder whether the economic importance of returning the 737 MAX to the skies will drive the plane's swift recertification.
In the current system that we have, the duopoly between Airbus and Boeing, there's a sense that this is all too big to fail. The airlines need to get these airplanes because the airlines need to upgrade their fleets. They need the better fuel economy of the airplanes. So there's an inevitability of the plane coming back to service.
It's estimated that the odds of dying in a plane crash are 1 in several million. Nonetheless, what we've learned from the development of the 737 MAX is cause for concern. Shihab, Rattansi, Al Jazeera.